I listen to 580, my jam. I Just Want to Be Loved. That's my jam.
Yes, yes. I
That's
appreciate
my
you.
jam. Oh gosh. Is that what you want?
What is that? What I want? Yes. You know what? I that got done when I had left my label, and I had felt like nobody cared. Even the people that did care, I just felt like nobody wanted me, nobody loved me, and I just wanted a hug at that point. And that was kind of like the birth of that song.
I loved it.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. That's my shit. Um, can you tell me when I went through the discography and I'm going from the mixtape
Hmm.
to 580, right? The maturation process between those two projects was immense to me.
Hmm.
And you've continued it on, but I want to ask you about the maturation process as
Yes.
a singer, as a writer, as an artist. How has it been for you as you've grown up in this industry? Or do you find yourself not wanting to talk about things that you used to talk about, or wanting to talk about things you didn't used to want to talk about?
So, are we talking about the '90s mixtape, like the recreation of the '90s songs? Is that the
The
mixtape?
no, no.
Okay.
Um,
So
there,
the
the
the post
mixtape. Go ahead.
before signing.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yes.
So yeah, at that time I was just like experimenting with sounds. I called myself like an urban pop artist because I feel like I'm a combination of the two. And then like it kind of ventured into, you know, R&B being the core of who I am. And then I think just being younger and wanting different things. Now I still want success. I still want fame. I still want money. I still want, but now I want peace. You know what I mean? Now I want to do for my family, my friends, those who have poured into me. It just means so much more. And I even in like the songs, like the love songs, and the kind of guy that I would prefer or I have dealt with, like, you know, things are just totally different now.
Yeah.
I think I had to go through some things to like pull out the right music.
Do you feel like as you grow as an artist and live more life, you're more influenced by the life itself, or are you still influenced by those musical influences that kind of really made you love music in the first place?
First of all, your questions are good. Okay. Usually I can come off the dome like da, 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 and I can't. Okay, so let me think about that.
Yeah.
Um, I think I believe that I had to go through some life experiences to create better music. I think I had to. So I went through this whole thing of like dating the wrong guys and you know, everything that I feel is good content for R&B music. I feel like we are missing a lot of feeling in this era right now, and so sometimes it's hard for me to find my balance because of that. But then when I think about like Brandy and Mary J. Blige and Jasmine Sullivan, like it was the pain, if you will, in the music that I connected with. So for some reason, I don't care what era we're in, I'm always going to be the core of that.
Can we talk about Brandy and Monica real quick?
Absolutely, we could do that all day.
Okay.
I need to feel, so let's do this like.
Monica, fuck with me on this. Monica has got the pain. I think Brandy's got the. We know about Brandy's turmoil from being nosy, but my in the music, Monica got the pain. She got the struggle.
Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, Cameron. Let's talk about it. I think, let me get real specific. When I got out of high school and I went to college and I went through this whole phase of wanting to date a drug dealer, I feel like a lot of girls have gone through that. And
Yes.
I would go to West Oakland and I found a boy that I wanted to date. And at that time, he ended up going to jail, getting out, getting shot, all this stuff. And at that time, after the storm was very important to me because I connected. Just that one album though, right?
Yeah.
But then with Brandy's content mixed with like sonically, it just felt like everything. I don't know. It's so hard to explain.
Yeah.
But are you saying that you feel like Monica brings more of the pain, the relatable pain than Brandy? Is it the tone? Is it the lyrics?
I think Brandy's tone is so beautiful, right? It
Okay.
it like broken heart. Like obviously there's songs that just make you feel a certain thing.
Uh-huh.
There's so much respect for her tone though, and what she inserted into music as a vocalist, that
Yes.
there's this esteem. And
Yes.
Monica, I think, is more relatable. Like she's somebody that I've dated, or she's somebody my boy has dated. And some of the
I
some of
get
the
that.
gut, she got the gut,
I
she
get
got the
it.
gut singing in there.
I
Monica
get it.
sings from the gut, and it just connects with me in a certain type of way as well.
I
That's
get
all.
it. I get that. I feel like she does come from the gut, but like she comes from the gut one way. I
Now
don't know
that
how
I
to,
now
you know what
that
I'm
I can
saying? Like
I
she gonna
understand.
give me one note. She gonna give me one fire note. She gonna get, but it's gonna be that one. But then Brandy gonna take you from left to right and
True,
meet your ass in the middle.
true.
Like,
I'm with
and
you when
then
you're
I'll be
right.
like, I will get in the shower and be like, I can't get this run. Like, why can't I get it? And so I think it is. I love them for different reasons. Like
For sure.
what do you say? Somebody said something. My best friend in here talking about something. What is he saying? Oh, say you will.
I've heard "Say You Will."
How you feel about say you will?
I, look, look at the comment. Brandy is vocal Bible, right?
Yes,
So
that's my other best friend.
when you put Brandy there,
Mm-hmm.
it don't matter. At that point, it doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
because you love everything, Brandy.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
When you put, I think Monica being relatable, it allows her to connect with the
Mm.
average non-singing person. We ain't talking about singers. We're talking about the average Joe. You can't hit a
The
Brandy run
content.
anywhere.
The
I
content.
think the content that Monica is talking about and the way that she delivers it, it allows you to feel like you're close to her talent. Brandy's
Okay.
talent is otherworldly. So it's
Yes.
like when you call somebody the vocal Bible, I mean, which is the statement. It's just
I
kind of
see what you're
like
saying.
there's no way to compare to that when you think of in those terms. But if we're talking about the platform of verses
Mm-hmm.
and records is a different ball game. It's
Who
not.
takes it? Who takes this? If we have to call it a battle, who's taking this? I can tell you, but you tell me.
I'm not saying anything because I see the comments in here and I'm trying to still
No,
have a show
Cam,
after
tell
this.
us. Tell us. This is Candid with Cam. This is
No.
Candid with Cam. Tell us.
Mm-mm. I think the public is going to say Brandy, and I'm not going to dispute. I'm not the the official. Like if this was Maxwell and D'Angelo, then I it would
Who
be
you
very
picking?
tough for me too. It would be
Who you
very
picking?
tough for
See,
me.
I can't pick in that. Tell me who you were picking that. I don't think I have enough.
Woo.
I haven't
I
studied enough.
picked D'Angelo. I picked
Okay.
D'Angelo, but very
Okay.
thin. And they
Okay.
have to choose the right records. Like
Okay.
versus is a records thing. And that's what I
True.
think people forget. You
Right.
playing
It's all
records.
about what you play,
Yeah.
where you play it. That's
Mm-hmm.
what it's about.
Yep.
And I think that's what's gonna make it because Monica got some shit. Like
Monica,
she got some shit.
if she
Like
plays the
let's
right
not.
records, if
She
she plays
got
the right records,
she
it's
got
possible that
she do.
the music critics who are not musical, they ain't up in here, Netta. You understand
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
I
They
feel
up
you.
in here. They right here. They
Somebody
right
said
here.
in my comments the other day, I don't know, Netta. Brandy she just whispers to me, and that was like blasphemy to me but I think some people feel like that. But I'm like, what? But so yeah, I guess I say that to say that some people really do feel like Monica have it. She has
Yeah.
it, but I don't.
I'm staying out of it. I'm just gonna watch
Yeah,
all
right. He's
y'all.
gotta enjoy it. I'm just gonna turn to
Yeah.
a 14-year-old and just
Yep.
watch it and cry and laugh and do all this stuff and I'm just excited. I've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for this since what,
Yeah.
1998?
It's been a minute.
So, but I feel like, let me just say this. I feel like Brandy doesn't get the credit she deserves. I feel like she is one of the artists that has done things that our favorite artists will never do. You know what I'm saying? And that she's the first Black of many things. And I just feel like I'd like to see her get more of her flowers. You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure.
So
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. Okay. All right, all right,
Okay.
all right, all right, all right.
I could talk about that all day. So let's move on.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I just had to bring that up. Um, it's easy to get caught up in the blanket genre of R&B.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us feel like we have to just identify it as that in order to be able to advance.
Yes.
How do you feel about R&B as a genre as a whole? Do you feel like with with the advent of rap singing and everything like that,
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel that do you feel like it's opened things up for R&B? Are people into R&B? You know, they were saying R&B is dead. They were saying R&B
Yeah.
is dead. How did you feel about that, and how do you feel about it now?
Somebody was asking me what I felt like R&B was missing. Um, I think we are in this rap singy era right now, which is cool.
Hmm.
Like I do like the content of a lot of like current R&B artists. I do. But I feel like the love is missing. Love was such a like the core of R&B music. It was okay for a guy to be outside singing in the rain, saying, "If I had one wish, bitch, you would be mine." You know what I'm saying? Like we we're missing that piece now. And I have a 15-year-old niece, and she was saying like love isn't cool. Ew, that's not cool. Like, you know what I mean? And so I just feel like that is a big piece that's missing. And feeling, I love the content of a lot of current artists, but if I could feel it too, like if your voice can get a little grit and then grow pretty again, and then get like that's different. And I feel like um, that's just not as heavy as it was before. I don't know if we're just past it or we're moving back toward that. I kind of want to know what you think about that.
Man, listen, I'm an artist advocate, so I'm always going to be about the artists.
Yeah.
I do feel like the music industry is built, it's a system. And just
Yes.
like any other system in this country, unfortunately, a lot of the systems were created not to be for the advancement of black people. And I think that is not, the R&B genre and the rap genre is not immune to that. I mean, people in 99 were laughing when Eminem came out.
Hmm.
Now look, Jack
Wow.
Harlow's got a top 5 rap record.
Hmm.
We
That's
didn't
deep.
think that was going to happen. And my
Right.
thing is, we're so welcoming because we are a people of feeling. So we're
Yep.
going to welcome anything that feels good,
That
but
feels good.
we don't get treated that way in reverse. A
Listen.
black guy playing the guitar I'm an alien. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So it
It
could
kind of
be
bothers me a
R&B.
little bit.
It,
Kind
it
of,
bothers
I'm
it
gonna
bothers
be
me too.
honest. It kind of bothers me. Not to go back to the Brandy thing, but let me just paint this picture for you real quick. I
Yeah.
have been going through her whole discography this week just so I can like get ready. I didn't know Bruno Mars wrote Long Distance. I didn't know that.
Wow.
But Bruno has songs later in life that were like Long Distance that were number one. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So it's weird how you can put sound on different faces and different artists and it mean more or mean less. And that kind of bothers me when we talk about like urban AC and boxing people into just these categories. And I come from an era where I did used to define myself as urban pop. I did grow up listening to MC Hammer, but then Madonna and Sting and
Yeah.
all these. I come from the Bay Area. We are just like a melting pot of different sounds and Green Day and all this stuff. And so when I went into my first like audition to go to major label, this was early before Atlantic. They told me you have to pick a sound. It cannot be urban pop. It cannot. You have to pick. And I think that's just the reality of what a lot of this is. So
Yeah.
finding that balance for me sometimes is a little difficult and a little frustrating.
Did you go into the creative process on any of these projects with that being the overarching theme?
I think in all of my projects, even the one that I'm working on now, like I'm always going to give you a ballad with just piano. I'm always going to give you something that just does not only sound like R&B because that's not what I grew up only listening to. You know what I'm saying? I like world music, and that's always going to play like a heavy influence in who I am as a woman, an artist, a Black woman, you know, all of that. I think R&B is the core of me for sure, but there's so many different extensions that I feel like people tell you that you can't do because of what you look like or, you know, where you come from, but that just is not my reality. So I think we are in a time where it is dope that you can put yourself out. You can throw your stuff on SoundCloud. You can put your own music out on all these streaming sites. Can't nobody say nothing to you. You can see if it's going to work or not. And I think that's a pro that is happening right now as it relates to artists, because you can kind of do what you want and see what it's going to happen, as opposed to like before, it's like, here's your box. You can move around this box. Now, when you start to get too far, I don't know what to do with you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that we're in more of a freedom space of like doing what we feel.
Well, what advice or guidance would you give to an aspiring artist that's out there that doesn't know the world of doing showcases and having to be taken around the block and having to talk to people and pulling up at random studios, and who's just kind of been working on it in the crib? They're getting a little bit of buzz for themselves, but they still in their mind, the ultimate goal is to be signed by a major label. What would you say to an artist in that situation?
That's a really good question. There's a piece of me that still would like to be signed to a major label. If I could just be very transparent, I always feel like, you know, I would like a bigger machine that would allow me to go further, and you know, as long as it's done the right way and I'm amongst the right people. I still want that for myself. That'll probably be forever that I will want that. I feel like we are in a different time, whereas when I came up, we had to hit different clubs, you know, meet the DJs, perform your show. Even if nobody's listening, you might get a boo or two. You know, it's not very easy to become an up and coming artist in the Bay Area. I always feel like if you can perform here and keep the attention of people here, Oakland, Berkeley, Richmond, San Francisco, you have something. So I felt like I was trained here, right? But then I do come from the old school, like when we talk about like hitting the ground running and just doing these promo tours where you get nothing out of it, but just hopes that people will, you know, go buy your music. I would say do what feels right to you. I still feel like it's all about feeling. If you feel like this music can connect with people and more importantly is connecting with you, go for it. You know what I mean? Like, just do what feels right. I don't think there's a right or wrong. I don't think there's rules. If you want to get naked, do it, whatever feels right. I'm not judgmental in that way. Like, whatever feels right. I think that's always what it goes back to for me.
Nice.
And that it gets me in trouble sometimes.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. But do what feels right.
So during this time, you mentioned working. How has the creative process been for you during this time? I know, you know, California, you guys have been taking it on the chin from the beginning. So
from the beginning, like, and I think that it's going to be like this for a while. But you know what? I feel like I have been thriving a little more in this. What I realized, let me just be honest with you, I've been like in quarantine for 5 years. This is bad. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I've been so disconnected. I think when I moved home and I then became an independent artist again, like, it really took a toll on me. I became embarrassed. I didn't want to go outside. I didn't want to answer any questions. I became very, very much so a loner. And then, like, as years went by, I started to get more comfortable again. But I'm recognizing that people are going crazy. I'm like, wow, this is actually my normal. But so what I've been doing is trying to challenge myself to do things that make me uncomfortable. So I'm working on a documentary right now. And that's just kind of like, that came from people saying that they don't know enough about me as a woman, as an artist, as an independent artist. So I've been working on that. And then shooting videos. We've all been like social distancing, but shooting videos in that, you know, capacity. And I feel like I have been more creative. It's really weird. Like, I feel like I'm in my comfort zone. But it's also made me realize like I need to be better about things once the world opens back up. You know?
Yeah. So I was reading about your reconnection or your reawakening with the acting world and your love of acting. saw
Mm-hmm.
that you had a part in a film that
Mm-hmm.
was released last year sometime, and it had to do with the subject of sex trafficking, and that, in getting prepared for that role, you had to do your fair share of research, including kind of being out there and kind of seeing that this is something that goes on. What was it like for you, given everything that's happened musically, to be reconnecting in that type of way with that type of role? What type of impact did it make on you pursuing acting more seriously in the future?
Yeah. I'm so sick of you and these questions. They're so good. They're so good.
Don't be
No,
sick
it's
of
like,
me.
so when did you start singing? Did you start singing in church? Like, you like dived in. I appreciate it. That was so different. I think for one, I hadn't acted in so many years. I hadn't acted in about 10 years. So for one, that was like, I was nervous about that, but then also a world that I wasn't familiar with. So I had to do a lot of research. And then to learn that in my backyard, all these things are going on with these young girls. Like, it was almost kind of traumatizing, but then just dope to be able to like know what's happening in my community.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that I don't know if I loved how the movie came out, if I can be all the way honest, but I
Yeah.
think for me personally, it broke me out of a box that I didn't think I was going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So it was just cool to be able to do something outside of music that challenged me and hopefully will lead me to something else that will allow me to do the same.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Um, so you mentioned that you kind of recoiled.
I'm telling him my nails crazy. I'm back.
Uh,
I'm
that's
listening.
okay.
I'm back.
You mentioned that you kind of recoiled
Yeah.
after the major label experience.
Hmm.
Um, what is it about the major label experience that leaves artists feeling some type of way about
Mm.
it?
This one guy, I thought he was being a hater at the time. I think he probably was being a hater at the time. But he said something slick like, "Oh, you got signed? Now the real work finna start." That don't mean nothing. And it was like, at the time, a lot of artists from the Bay Area were not being signed. This is pre G-Eazy, pre Kaylani, pre this great movement of people we have now. This is before that. So I thought that I was, oh my God, I've done something that I've only dreamed about. And so when I heard that, I was like, oh, you a hater. You a big hater. And then that actually became kind of true. You know what I'm saying? Like, the real work did start. It was like I had got my community, the whole Bay Area, like knew and was behind me. And then I had to go into this building and like convince them that I deserved to be there. It was so weird. It was so weird. Um, so I think if ever that opportunity had presented itself again, I think it's just different now. I've been through the motion of it. I've learned, and I will come in with a different energy, a different perspective, a different work ethic. But I think I just didn't really know what I was signing up for. And I think I wasn't really into just things that I'm into now. And I think one of my main thoughts were, don't lose this, don't fuck this up, don't spend all this money, don't lose this, don't. And that became my reality because that's what I was focusing on. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then I would get in my head and be like, should I say this? Should I say that? Are they gonna get mad if I say this? Well, let me just wait. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just being unsure because I wanted it so bad.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, so I've learned a lot. It's been a lot of heartbreak. It really has, but I think nothing makes me happier. So if I go and be like regular, which nothing is wrong with that, I don't think that I will feel like fulfilled
Yes.
as a human. So
I love it. I love it. So what's the new, not the new music or direction, but where do you find yourself in your creative space right now as you're
mm-hmm.
creating records? What do you feel like has there been any type of reoccurring theme, or what
Mm-hmm.
type of sonics are we,
Yeah.
waiting for?
Well, I'm working on a project now and it'll just be EP. If you notice, I've never really done like a full album before.
Yeah.
I just do EPs and mixtapes because I just feel like that deserves much more, and I don't feel like I have a big machine for that yet. So I just kind of keep putting out things excuse me, here and there. And then I basically just write about and create based on what's going on in my life at that time. And, you know, right now, you know, I'm still figuring it out, as sometimes we all are, you know, to
Yeah.
some degree. And even in love and relationships, I pick the wrong guys. I do not know why, but I be picking their asses, and there's something that I need to fix, right? And so I put a lot of truth in my music as it relates to me and a lot of other women. And even on my rough days where I want to give up and not do this anymore and just go do something else, I will see somebody and they'll be like, when you did X, Y, and Z, like, and then those things like ignite me again. You know, that brings me back to life. Um, and so I always want to feel like people can connect with me through my music, because those are the people that the people that I connected to. Like, I know how important that is for me. So I just hope to be, you know, someone like that. That's how I, you know, aspire to be.
Sweet. Do you there's a record that you have on the 580 project that I love as well, called Push, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I saw you talking, or at least I read an interview about kind of how, like, pulling yourself up or picking yourself up from a lower moment.
Yes.
And after I read that, then I hear Push, and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, you know.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that in real life? How do you pick yourself back up? You.
Yeah, it's gonna sound crazy, but it's become like a lifestyle. It's so bad. That doesn't even sound right. Like, just being younger and dealing with things as a young child, then a teenager, then a young adult. Like, I've always had to, all right, shake it off. You know, what's next? You know, and I think that's just always been the core of who I am. And I was just talking to my best friend the other day, and I was like, if I get crazy you need come get me, like, because this, like, industry and just like this field of work, it can take you up and down, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And then you know, I did watch my grandmother, who dealt with a lot of like mental issues because she had gone deaf. You know, those things are always in the front of my mind because I seen it growing up. um that's why I always say, like, this industry, like, you have to really love it. You
Mm-hmm.
have to really love it, because it's just not for the weak hearted. um 580 was really just like, I don't know what I'm doing. My heart is broken. I'm trying to put it back together, but then I'm also kind of happy a little bit because it's cool. Like, let me just put a body of work together that embodies that.
Yeah.
And then my grandmother, you know, ended up passing away, and she was just such a big part of my life. And then I was like, oh, she'll never see me get a Grammy. She'll never see me do, you know, the things that I promised, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I had to deal with all of those things. And I think I've always just been conditioned to put it into the music, put it on stage, put it, you know, those are my releases. So
Yeah.
I always want my music to feel like relatable. Like, when I heard like Keisha Cole's first album, like, as a young girl from the Bay Area, like, I was like, ooh, I feel this. You know what I mean? Like, I like when I can feel. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's kind of like my goal sonically.
How do you, you know, black people, we're so good at carrying another situation on top of
Mm,
another situation.
mm,
It becomes part of the lifestyle, you know.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes, a lot of times, we don't actually deal with the situation in order to be able to let it go. You find
Right?
yourself,
Oh gosh, say
you
that.
know, you know, I've been trying to get a hold of certain things that maybe have been a hindrance to me, that
Yeah.
just are as a result of experiences that I've had more than once that I've never really dealt with, especially when you
Mm.
ain't around nobody and you at home. You like,
Oh,
you're like,
right. And
yo.
sometimes you could be your own worst enemy. You could be feeding
Yeah.
yourself the worst.
Yeah. Do
That's
you
tough.
you mentioned your best friend? Who else do you have, or what else helps you keep things in perspective?
Um, that's a good question. I think I always go back to music. I always go back to music. I read a lot. I am a heavy overthinker, and I'm really trying to work on that. I am trying. But I think, yeah, I listen to a lot of music. I write and I read. Um, and I do talk to my friends a lot too. But then sometimes as we get older, we get in our head and we're like, you got your own stuff going on. Let me not bring my, you know what I mean? And then in that way, you then start to like keep it inside,
Yeah.
which kind of sucks. But you don't always want to be, you know, complaining about things. It's just, it gets complicated as you get older, I feel like.
It does. It does. But sometimes though, right, you know, when you get older, you see the same test, right?
Mm,
It's
mm.
almost like if you're in the ninth grade, in order to get to the 10th grade, you still got to be promoted. And with the
Hey,
promotion comes the test. So it's like if you keep getting tested in the same way and the result of passing is going to the 10th grade, but you keep
I
failing
just
every time.
I just started understanding that concept. And the only reason I started is because I kept meeting the same guy in different bodies, different skin, different colors, different ethnic background, the same guy. And I think at that point, it just became like, I think you have some healing to do. You know what I mean? Like, and it became to a point where I just wanted to be loved and accepted so bad, especially when I came back home. I think that I would just kind of like allow certain things. Like, it would be weird. Like, if a guy says, like, I never heard of you before. Like, what guy in their 30s to don't know me? No, you just tried to get me. You tried to get me. Like, you know what I'm saying? It just, sometimes your confidence, it has to be there to do anything,
Mm-hmm.
to be in a relationship, to do music, to do whatever you aspire to do. Like, you have to believe in self. And I think when I began to lack that after I had been home for some time, I started to make some weird decisions. Like, Netta, this isn't you. This isn't you. So I just took a step back from everything and then just started to reevaluate myself.
Man, I love it. So talk to me about Get to You then. I know that was released this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's soft. It's there's a connectivity to it, and
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about how it kind of came together, and you know, yeah,
That well, first of all, it had been done for a couple of years. I just never put it out, right? But then I went back and listened to it when all of this stuff started happening. When we first like went into quarantine, maybe like a month or so, and then we started having all these things happen. I had just become really annoyed with just where we are as a country, as a Black woman. Like, I just want to feel like I'm protected, and I want to protect those around me that don't feel that as well. You know what I'm saying? And so when I listened to it and it came on in my playlist, I'm like, I forgot about this. And for some reason, it just connected to what I was feeling a couple of months ago, even now. And I think it does even kind of connect to the I Just Want to Be Loved and the songs that I have that just cry out like, I want to love somebody. I want somebody to feel full. Like, and then my best friend had did the cover for that. And just what she picked just embodied what I was feeling, spoke to the times. And then I'm always down for like a piano ballad. I don't care. It could be 2057. I'm giving you a piano ballad. I do not care. So, yeah.
yeah. So before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you how you feel being Black right now with everything that's going on, and
Mm.
you know, especially the events of this week. You know, it's we're always talking about the events of this week and next week,
Yeah. Every
and
day, right? The new.
where did, how are you feeling these days?
It's weird because I feel very proud. I feel very proud of who I am. And then I also feel very frustrated. You know, I come from the Bay Area and we, as you probably know, like we are built to fight for
Yes, you are.
equality. I was out there getting tear gassed when, you know, the Oscar grants happened, and you know what I mean? Like we are just built in that way. And so I just feel things very deeply. And it's really frustrating across the board. Like when you even think about like in the industries and like Meg the Stallion and how I feel like she's treated and how if it were someone else, the world would stop. It
Yeah.
bothers me. I feel like we are the elite but it's almost like we're in trouble for being the elite. Like, and they are afraid of us when we don't even know our power, and they are afraid of our power. And every day is like one step at a time. My nephew just graduated from college, and he was telling me like the last week of college, like I was like, be careful, because the police were shooting and stuff at his school around there, and all. He was like, well, I just have my white friends walk around with me, and I know that I'll be protected. They won't bother me. And it just burned me up. It just burned me up. Like, these are the times, that we're living in. And to think about Colin kneeling 4 years ago, and just now, what I mean, we're starting to see a baby shift, because now the NBA is playing again tomorrow, or what I mean, it's just frustrating. But then at the same time, I feel very proud.
That's what's up. Well, I want to let you address those who have come to see your face and be tortured with mine.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I like that Prince behind you too.
Oh yeah.
I love it. Yes.
Yes. So I want to give you the last word, and nice little parting words for our guests who've joined us and joined you today.
Well, let me say this to you specifically, right? As an independent artist, when people want to interview us, it's always shocking for me specifically, because I know that my baby steps are very minimal, because I only have so much of a platform, because I'm doing everything myself, right? So when you extend offers like this, it means more to me than you probably know. And people who were introduced to me by legends like KP, they pretend like they like me because KP is saying like me. So I really appreciate that you have still stood with me and wanted to interview me and connect. Like, that really means a lot.
For sure.
Really, really does.
That's what's up. So you ain't got nothing to say to them. It's just me.
I love them though. And now, see, I talk to them all the time. Now, see, I love y'all, right? I thought it was gonna be 5 people in here, and it's way more. And I've been reading the comments as I'm talking, and you guys, again, it gets difficult. Every day I wake up, I'm reminded that I'm not where I want to be, and it can be very frustrating for me as an independent artist and trying to just figure out what's next. And it's really the people who get into my DMs or email me or comments that allow, I feel like God speaks through them and says, no, just continue. I know you're getting older. I know you're getting a little thick with the quarantine weight, but keep going. And so it's really much more helpful than people realize.
Yeah, so. For sure. Well, listen, I know you love piano ballads, but I want to try to convince you to. I want to try to persuade you, convince whichever one you prefer, to entertain a guitar record, maybe an acoustic or even electric, a bare electric record, something smoky.
Bare electric, I like that. Okay.
Yeah, I can show you better than tell you, but
okay.
Please
do.
Yes,
Please do.
I mean, I would love to send you something. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at this.
I think I believe you. Get on your show now.
We can do some things. I'm telling you.
You say the word.
Yeah, I'm a
do that, and we got proof. You guys see.
I'm a body
we
roll.
Got proof.
I'm a body roll through the DMs. and
catch you.
Yes, and I'm gonna send you something. I'm gonna impress you. That's my goal. In the very near.
You said I like the way you said an electric. What?
Bare electric.
Bare electric.
So it's like when you take an electric and you play it like it's an acoustic, in the sense that there's nothing else around it. That you've heard those old blues songs, and it's just in 3/4 or something like that. It's an easy way to explain it, but I always I do my own thing. So, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So
I listen, please. We have proof. So I'll be waiting for you to body roll them into my email.
I'm a H-Town body roll that thing up in there.
Okay, I'm a Bay Area body roll. It's a 357 MC Hammer body roll.
Listen, 3, 3, 5, 7, get this.
Hey,
Get loose.
hey,
Come on, I'm trying to tell you.
hey.
I'm trying to
See,
tell you. Mm-hmm.
see, hey,
Mm-hmm.
they are legends to me. They're
Yes.
legends to me. So.
Yes. I remember I went to see that concert when I was a child because me, my brother, and my cousin, we all convinced our parents to let us go. We had to have a chaperone. We were like 6, 7. We grew up
Yeah.
with these aunts and uncles that were like 10 years older than us. So we got exposed to
Yes.
stuff we really weren't supposed to get
Yes.
exposed to. Well, man,
Uh-huh.
we went to the concert and man.
Listen, so first of all, I am obsessed with YouTube. If I go on YouTube, don't talk to me for the rest of the day. I'm going down a rabbit hole. Sometimes I watch their shows, like their live shows, their like award shows. It takes a lot. That is too much cardio. That
Yeah.
is too much. I was tired watching them in the first 3 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
but it was just like magical. The production, like the different levels of like, I kind of feel like people sleep on his hammer too. Maybe I'm being biased, but those shows, as because I used to go with my sister's older than me too, so I used to slide in with her, go to the concerts, and it was pandemonium to me. But it was a lot of work. I'm like, this is a whole workout.
Yeah, it
This is
is.
a workout.
It is. I got much respect for y'all, all y'all that come from out there. I just rock with y'all. So
Appreciate you.
I'm adding you to my list, and
Please do.
I'm going to send you some stuff and bother you. So
Please do.
I
The
will.
door is open.
Yes. So thank you again for
Thank you
rocking
for
with
having me.
me.
Yes.
And I'm gonna find some of the many wonderful things we talked about and post some in a few.
Please do.
So
I'll do the same.
all
This
right.
is awesome.
Yes.
You ask questions that are not you're an artist, you know. So when did you know that you have wanted to be a singer? Can you ask me something else? So I appreciate it. I really do.
No doubt. All right. So yes, yes. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Thanks for coming with and
Well, thanks for having me.
no problem.
Peace, y'all.
Bye.